But I'm lucky I'm alive, really. Yeah. Another question. Do you have
about the bat?
Oh, I used to use this in the 90s, but when I lived in India, I got crosswise with the Indian mafia. They tried to close us down, and they put bullshit, bogus. The only bad thing that you can find about me is a thing in India I supposedly was involved in porn. But if you read down, and I was vindicated that it was a mistake of facts. It was just because one rich Indian went to the newspaper and put the article in because I wouldn't pay a bribe. But it's tough to find a gun in India. So when we were going to the office, they were sending 15, 20 Indian thugs, which is kind of a misnomer, not an Indian thug, Anyway, so I came to work with a cricket bat. And the head thug came up to me and said, "Mr. Peña, you're intimidating my people. These are all the guys that, And so there was like a chair or something there. And so I hit it with a cricket bat, and I sliced through it. And I said, and I went like, you're the guys. Who's next? And now this, I was a big boy then. I was about 270. I mean, I looked formidable in those days. Not like the puny that I am now. And so that's the cricket bat. I've kept it for remembrance. And what other question? Is there another question? We will start role-playing tomorrow. And so Balmer, did we talk about all the films now? By the way, Steve is a preeminent manager. He's a great leader. He's got great leadership skills. And he's aggressive. He's an aggressive guy. And he's at the General Patton end of the continuum. By the way, and the alpha male, do you have to be an alpha male thing that none of you looked at? There's two ends of the management continuum. There's Balmer, Dan, General Patton, and there's Henry Kissinger, Obama, blah, blah. 98% of all managers in the world are at that end of the continuum. Only 2 or 3% of us are at this end. Needless to say, you don't have to be at this end to be successful. All of you are at that end, or maybe in the middle. And but you don't have to be an alpha male, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be an alpha male, and you don't have to be like I am or General Patton. You don't. You think you do. Now, Greg is not. You can just tell by talking to him. And all the people that you're going to talk to this week on the webinars are on his end of the continuum. There is none. In fact, in my stable of guys, I probably only have one maybe that's an alpha male type. It's not a requirement. It's not because I believe in this politically correct era that we're in. It's just that you don't have to be. But when we talk about tomorrow, management styles, 2/3 of all the Fortune 500 CEOs have something in common. Military background. They either went to the military schools, or they went to military high schools, or they're ex-military. 2/3 of those 2/3 have something else in common: martial arts training. And they don't have the training because to be tough or to fight, but the focus, commitment, etc. That is, and when we talk about leadership traits tomorrow, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And the kids today, virtually all, not air, but are on the non-confrontational, non-aggressive end of the management continuum. They're virtually all, not all, but I mean almost all. But when we talk about building a board, and when we talk about picking a chairman that's right for you. And when we talk about, and when Craig said we have 145 years of experience on our board, I'm 45 of it, but you can't have lived, 20, 30 years and been doing deals without gaining experience. And you will be given the benefit of the doubt based on who you're in bed with. And so I hope I answered your question about, who do I get in bed with, so to speak. And but if I can add value, and those other things that I said, and but the biggest thing now, because I can almost add value to anything, is whether I'm conflicted or not, because I'm involved in a number of transactions, and I gave you the example of the one that cost me $50 million, which still sticks in Sally's throat more than mine, but because she liked that guy, she said he was a good kid, and she didn't like the other one, and I picked the other one because it was the first one. It was like FIFO, first in, first out. That's an accounting, forget it. I'm sorry I mentioned it. And we don't talk anything about GAAP here, General Accepted Accounting Procedures. You don't need to know it, but anyway, that's another one of my bugaboos. I don't like GAAP either, because it counts the money fucked up, in my opinion. Any other questions? Who do I have first? Go ahead.
You mentioned that a successful company is one that is a two-trick pony. What does this mean actually?
Two-trick, okay. Yeah.
That,
now, so he says they were a two-trick pony, and they never had a third trick. Two-trick pony is they came out with two different operating systems that made Microsoft famous. So far, to the best of my knowledge, Facebook's only got one trick, and they're looking for the second trick. And although they're learning to monetize it, but it's whether you come up with a third, or Microsoft, which hasn't yet, come up with a third method to differentiate it. And but Ballmer left Microsoft before they came up with a third trick. So we'll see what the new management does. But all these guys, exaggeration, most of the guys want to not be known as just a one-trick pony. They want to think that they had their legacy is more than one thing. If it wasn't for, even though I've done a lot of deals and been very successful, if it wasn't for me developing QLA, which is a pony by itself, I probably would have been known as a one-trick pony. I did it once for myself in a big way, and I never did it again. But the truth of the matter is, if I hadn't been thrown out of Great Western, which I was, unceremoniously, I didn't find it that hard to create that much money. I just didn't. I find it much more difficult getting you to create, because you're not, you say you want to do it, but the truth of the matter is, for the most of you, it's all bullshit. And that's will become crudely obvious to you over the next months. And I would rather have you, after 5 weeks or 5 months, you're right, this ain't for me. Then you don't ever have to read another fucking book. You don't ever have to listen to a pod fuck. You don't ever have to go to another seminar. And just go on with your life. We've had a lot of people just walk off into the sunset. This isn't for me. I thought I wanted this, but I don't. You think you wanted it because, what am I going to do next? Somebody had a question.
Yeah, what drove you to deal with people like us as opposed to go back in the game and get big the second time or third time and be changing an industry and be again the second time?
Because one, I didn't find it that hard, and I knew that I could do it again. See, you guys don't know you can do it again if you ever did it. And if you never did it, then you don't know if you can do it once. I knew in a collapsing fucking market to grow 560,000%. I mean, there's no doubt in my military civilian mind I know how to do it. And so, I don't like to say that I wanted to give back. That's too Mother Teresa for me. But, I'll go back and teach college. I thought that I could affect more minds if I got them young. I was right about that, but the educational system, at least my opinion of the educational system 20 years ago, it's all fucked up. So I hear it's gotten worse. So one of my buddies, one of my dear friends, a guy that was out of Ford Motor Company, I said, why don't, there's a lot of people trying to tell people how to turn nothing into something. I mean, you did 800 into 500 million. Why don't you do that? And so I thought it'd be a lot easier than it's been. But I underestimated grossly the lack of emotional bank account and the lack of self-esteem that exists in the world. I judged everybody by me. I judged everybody by the alpha males I was raised with my dad. I judged everybody by the military alpha males I was with. And the oil business is just rot with fucking alpha males. I mean, roughnecks, offshore drilling, those are all rough motherfuckers. So I thought, hospital administration, they squat to pee. All these other they squat to pee. Financial services, they squat to pee. Now, construction is rough motherfuckers. I like that when I was in construction. They call a fucking spade a shovel. But I grossly underestimated the cuntness of the average human being. Okay, YouTubers, see you tomorrow.